In the status quo right now, AI has developed a lot and is developing to its peak, and it's not only being used for working purposes, but for chatting and some talking. However, if we make an AI machine only designed for social interactions, will it be efficient and helpful for us in the world in the status quo? Our team believes that AI machines for social interactions shouldn't be created. Our team's framing is AI is a currently advancing technology. However, it had mostly developed towards helping humanity in wars, science, technology, and other mechanical things, like telling us information. It is still in early development, actually implementing emotions and thoughts like us humans have. And even with this tech implemented, there would still be separate problems with this creation. The counterfactual for our team is we want a world where people do not use AI, but think deeply about the relationship and overcome the obstacles by themselves and not with the help of AI. The stakeholders for our team is the people in wealthy and technologically advanced countries, for example, Western Europe, US, etc. Now let me move on to my arguments. The first argument is reliance. Although opposition might claim that people can use it as a guide for social interaction, making AI think for you, like when having a relationship, very risky because having a relationship is very significant because you think it is not perfect, and AI does all of these things for you when we make an AI machine that does social interaction. AI does all the things for you, and if people keep does chatting with this AI machine, and they can have a hard time talking when they come to reality, and because since it is very different than what they actually did with the AI, they won't learn to have a healthy relationship with people and will have hard with them and actually making friends. And the impact for this argument is they will have an unhealthy relationship ultimately in the end. The second argument is AI machines cannot replace human interactions. Even though humans can try their best to develop the AI and develop to mimic humans and also talk with them, since they are AI and they are not that advanced in the status quo right now, and there might be a lack of empathy or some other emotional errors. For example, when you usually chat with AI, for example, ChatGPT, your AI company, like when you chat with them, ChatGPT usually always agree with you, and
pure
or rejected. And the impact for this argument is people who are alone is still going to be lonely, as it doesn't feel real, and the humans and the real people are going to feel a lot of differences than the real person and the relationship they actually have. Honorable adjudicated, you can see in our world, AI can be helpful in work and in other technological or sense, but people should interact socially against actual humans, not AI. Therefore, the motion should stand. Thank you.
Before I move on to some rebuttals and our side's two substantive arguments. AI machines for social interactions in the status quo means examples like chatbots, AI companions, social robots, and more. AI supplements human interactions and they do not replace it. We are not trying to fully replace human interactions with AI, but rather make it an efficient tool for people who are isolated or in need of emotional support. Our side even helps the minority people by helping who are vulnerable, like people who are isolated, depressed, or just generally in need of help. Now, before I move on to my arguments, I'll say some rebuttals. Even if AI provides a rather risky response, it is the to follow it. Our side also claims that AI has a low chance of risky responses compared to responses from people like family members or friends. And the PM said that vulnerable people will not improve their mental health due to AI, but when a person has nobody and they're isolated and have no one to talk to, no thank you, it is best to at least talk to a chatbot to try to improve their mental health. And now moving on to our side's first arguments. AI is always accessible. Even when you're outside, AI is always accessible. While people like your parents or friends or anyone else are not guaranteed to always stay by your side, with a click of a button, AI is right by your side. No, thank you. When you're on the subway, train, bus, car, etc., AI can provide answers within seconds, unlike humans. There's no guarantee that humans like your friends or humans are always available to call or text. The mechanism here is that not all people, like your family members or friends, are available. AI is always available 24/7 and can provide as much or even more support than humans. However, we are not saying that human support is terrible and unnecessary, but rather using AI as a secondary tool for support is better. The impact here in this argument is that support can be received 24/7 from AI help, ultimately showing that on our side we win on the time frame. The most important impact here is that it reduces loneliness and isolation. People like elderly, disabled individuals, socially anxious users, people in remote areas can start accessing AI to help
UI,
reduce
please
their
engage.
individual problems. This leads to indefinite better mental health, while inside government, there's no sure guarantee that a minority individual will certainly improve their mental health, since there's no guarantee that family members or friends will always be there for them. Judge, SideGov has to prove how texting or calling with friends, humans, with a risk of a long time frame is better than a quick, accessible AI chatbot. Moving on to our side's second argument, AI can improve communication and learning skills. Some people struggle new skills in a packed
POI
environment.
last
With
chance.
yes,
If someone asks has a conflict and asks AI like, oh, this thing happened, and the AI says, I understand, does that really mean the AI truly understands the context, truly understands the emotion, and says understand, or says understand just because the user feels better? Your side cannot solve the problem of the AI just saying I understand because that sounds good.
since the AI is non-judgmental, for some people, it can actually improve their mental health. Since for humans like your family members or friends, they can actually have biased opinions about the situation that you ask them. Now, moving on to the argument, some people struggle to learn new skills in a packed environment. With AI, people can practice communication in a safe, low-pressure environment. AI provides a space where users can A, practice conversations, B, ask questions freely, C, make mistakes without embarrassment, and D, receive instant feedback. All these pros of an AI chatbot is something the Gov site cannot obtain. Over time, users can build confidence, language ability, social skills, and communication habits. Our site clearly wins on the time frame because we also take care of the user's long run, in which they can improve their social learning skills. The mechanism here is that since the AI is non-judgmental, users can feel less pressure and embarrassment when making a small mistake. Users can help improve a lot by repeated practices thanks to the availability of the AI being there. Not only that, confidence can be grown through repeated feedback that helps build their character as well. What is the impact? The impact is improved education, stronger communication abilities, increased confidence, and better opportunities in school and work. Our site provides way more benefits compared to SideGov, who only provides help from family members and friends, which are not even guaranteed to be there for you, like I mentioned before in my speech, and I'm very proud to oppose.
Hello, I'm the Deputy Prime Minister of today's debate, and I'd like to talk about our team's final argument about how having an AI companion is not always good. Before talking about our final argument, I'd like to firstly talk about the rebuttals. So firstly, the leader of opposition said the first argument is that they will get much more support. However, this does not stand as the AI right now cannot yet show the complicated emotions of regular humans. For example, does like everybody say sorry if some kind of info is just slightly off? Would they just agree to your opinion as long as it is not 100% evil or illegal? These are some problems that would take at least decades to finish. There's a time before them being very complicated with like giving a lot of things to these people being reliant on this AI because they cannot actually make like healthy relationships because like because like this AI is like, very unrealistic compared to actual like human relationships. So this argument does not stand. The leader of opposition's second argument is that it can help you learn and improve skills. However, I like to rebut to this by saying that there's so many other and better methods to actually like learn skills. You can learn new skills in so many other methods like Google, academies, the internet, and even just regular AI programs like ChatGPT and Gemini. And some of them actually are like focused on like skill. However, this AI like companion is only like really focused on like socialization, which is not so this is argument is not even related to the topic, so this argument does not stand. Now I'd like to move on to rebuilding our team's stance. So the prime minister's first argument is that like a lot of people rely too much on it. The leader of opposition rebutted it by saying that it is just their choice and it still gives a much lower risk like responses compared to like families. However, I like to rebut to this by saying that doesn't your family and friends know so much better than a random AI companion? Like your family has known you for like years and even decades, and they can actually give you like personalized like answers to like many different problems. However, AI, they just although it is more accurate, it is not personalized at all. So it is actually much worse than what
Why?
the family gives you. After finishing my sentence. So this argument does not stand. I'll take the POI.
Okay, so you said people can actually like improve their mental health with like advice from their family members, but what about the vulnerable people without family members or friends that they can contact? How do they feel like how do they improve their mental health?
First of all, I never talked about mental health, but second of all, like this is actually going to be worse because like these remote people, as like the families know it, and like our team side, like they'll at least sometimes come because they feel like this like pressure to like help them. But in your side, because they have an AI companion, they'll actually come to like also to like meet them much less often because they believe that they have an AI companion, so they don't need it. Moving on, the PM second argument is that AI machines cannot replace humans. The leader of opposition rebutted by saying that it is at least better to have them. However, this still stands as although this could temporarily replace it, it will worsen it eventually as these people rely on the AI. They don't know well on how to actually make human relationships. So this argument still stands. Now moving on to Azim's final argument, which is that the elderly people will become even lonelier. Now, why is this true? In the status quo, there are many elderly people, especially in first world countries, that live alone. As they live alone and it's very lonely, their family is often pressured to meet them as they feel as if they're like evil or bad to if they leave their families or parents or family lonely. This pressure also mostly comes from the fact that they don't want their elders to be alone all the time. This is the reason why many people go to their relatives' homes like at least every month or so. However, if an AI robot in the elderly people's homes, then the pressure of the elderly being lonely is vastly reduced. The other family members, therefore, won't come to the elderly's homes as often as the reason that they meet them, as the only reason that they meet them is only if they miss them. How does this look like? An elder's kid buys an AI companion for the elderly. They are relieved that the elder's loneliness and problems are mostly relieved, and they start visiting them only like once every special holiday. Now, why is this super important? As we have proven already that AI isn't going to be able to replace humans by the prime minister, the elders will actually lose the loneliness because of the robots. Therefore, the loneliness will actually only increase because they rarely even ever meet their parents. So, whatever I told you in my speech, I talked about our team's final argument rebutted previous speaker's stance. For all these reasons, proud to propose.
Judge, before I move on to our team's third and final argument on how human relationships are not always fully good and how they sometimes go sideways because humans are not imperfect, I would like to do some rebuttals against the proposition side. Firstly, they tell you that people going over their own emotions is better than AI helping, but then we tell you that people going over their own emotions is very hard. It's not easy to just say, oh, it's okay, I'm just gonna go over it, even if they, especially if they don't go over it fully in the first few minutes. Our characterization and also our characterization of AI, as we told you in the PM, the LO speech, is that we will help them go over. The AI will help them go over the people go over the problems, some stressful conditions, and I'll also address that the second argument during the constructive argument in my speech, but also let me just address it right now. Firstly, we believe that this is not true. Why? Sometimes people just need something to rely on. Even if the AI is artificial, we never said that it will replace human bonds. We tell you that AI can help people, even if it fully doesn't understand through a harmful situation. I'd like to take that later. AI can help comfort them even if they don't fully understand the real problem. And we also tell you that even if this is true, we tell you that it is still good because they still give mental help and comfort. Okay, I would like to address your POI.
Wouldn't trial and error help the individual improve in the relationship and actually help them improve at the end of the day? Besides, when people use AI, none of this is possible because you just ask AI to think for you.
We also agree error might be a good way, but then we're telling you that people can't do trial and error when they're emotionally distressed harmfully. People won't just ask another person for help when they're like in a bad situation. Some people are, as our LO told you, that people are not always there for them. Some people need AI because they're the only source of mental help, and they can also do trial and error using AI. And I will also restate our point. People are not fully available like AI. They never rebutted to this point, and therefore it still stands. And we also tell you that AI can help people. And when they tell you that AI can like help them, but then like they also tell you that they can harm because people like it replaces real life human like relationships, and that people like elderly like people like go to them every month, and then like if AI comes over, then they're like not gonna go there. They're only gonna go for special occasions. But then I would like to rebut to this statement by saying that people go every month, not every day. Some elderly or feel lonely every day. Just because they go every month doesn't mean they feel not lonely. We tell you that AI is something that can always be there. And secondly, we also want to tell you that AI doesn't replace human relations. People will still just visit their elderly because they're part of their family. It doesn't mean that people just don't visit them because AI is there. The reason that people visit elderly is not to make them feel not lonely. And even though this may be part of it, the real reason why people go visit the elderly is because they want to hang out or like meet their family and have quality time with them. And moving on to our third argument on human relationships are not always fully perfect or good. The premises of this argument is that human relationships sometimes go sideways while AI is always there and never fights with you. So the mechanism is this. Firstly, people are not always perfect. People get into fights, they disconnect, they yell. Human relationships pick up and take time to restore. In the meanwhile, AI can help comfort and emotionally support the people who need it, and it is always accessible, as our first speaker said. Second, also AI is built to support and it does not have feelings, but it is built to help others. Therefore, it is a constant source that helps the people without getting into fights with a person like humans. And AI is also fully understanding. It can help people and always comfort them in the ways they need. AI can understand what the people need based on its previous knowledge of the person and its current state, and can comfort or help people in possible that humans may not be able to do. So they have two impacts. Firstly, we have source of interaction that can help people gain comfort when human relationships fail. And secondly, we help the most vulnerable people because we help them have a companion that is every day, everywhere, and it helps you the way you need. And for these reasons, very proud to oppose from opposition back.
So AI might have the most information, but that does not justify the reason to give up so many benefits that human-led relationships bring. As government whip, other three main things in my speech: rebuttals, weighing, and clashes. So beginning with the rebuttals. So opposition continues to attack that case by saying that minorities will be excluded, like AI can give more help and it's more accessible. First of all, minorities will not be excluded because they have themselves to think and act in the relationship. The reason why a relationship is because they're the ones who actually think about the relationship. They're the ones who are actually trying to make something out of it. But if AI does it for you, none of this is possible. And therefore, even though the minorities, also the minorities can have have themselves to think for them. In opposition's world, the ability for human conversation will significantly decrease. For example, a young child relied on AI conversations for their entire life. Would they clearly down how humans communicate? Would they clearly understand the mechanization behind how humans talk to each other and how humans think? No, this is what opposition's world will bring in the end, and they give up all of these chances of improvements as an individual and the development of the relationship just because it is more comfortable and accessible. The trade-off is too risky, it's too big, therefore their case does not help the individual nor the relationship. Moving on to Wing, there's a clear metric in this debate, which is building healthy relationships. So relationships are special because you are not perfect and you make mistakes and you think for yourself. Instead of letting others think for you, you go through, you try something, you fail, you do it again, change it somehow, and make the relationship better, improving at the end of the day. Relationship where people rely on AI to answer for them breaks down the fundamental reason for a deep relationship and also the benefit that comes from it. However, in our world where people are not perfect, people can learn from mistakes and actually try to progress and get something out of that relationship that benefits the individual and the relationship as a whole. So moving on to clashes, the clash in this debate is about how to bring a healthy relationship and the real alternative for this problem, the status quo. I'll accept your POI.
So our side said that we use AI as a secondary tool. Like, why can't AI as a secondary tool help someone's like mental health or development?
AI cannot help with a relationship both primarily and secondarily, because the moment you ask AI for help, the moment you ask that question and ask the moment you ask that question, your ability to think will disappear. In that very moment, you're not the one thinking and trying to progress, but it's AI that's trying to do the job for. So none of the progress will be made. Continuing on with the clashes. The methods for healthy relationship. As I mentioned, the good relationship is not a relationship where everyone is perfect. It's an opportunity to learn and improve. And here, opposition is chasing the illusion of perfection and breaking down the chances of improvement and development in a relationship. However, in our case, where people rely on themselves to think and act, they can improve. And although it will not be perfect, the individuals will improve at the end of the day, and the relationship will be healthier and sustainable. Second question, this debate about the alternative of the what's the real about the alternative of the problem in the status quo. Government's alternative is way too risky. They give up all of the exclusive benefit that human conversations give, and also risk the chances of building a healthy relationship. However, the alternative in investing on our case, in investing human therapy, like therapists, community programs exist, and AI can only be accepted when these individuals decide to give up all of these things and decide to be reliant on technology. For all of these reasons, since our side are the ones who actually help the individual and the relationship, our side government takes this debate home. Proud to propose.
Judge, this debate is not about whether AI can be useful. Of course, AI can help us search information and like translate languages, but this motion is specifically about AI machines made for social interactions like AI friends and partners. So opposition wins because our side protects something much more important than convenience, real human relationships. Social interaction is not just talking, it is learning, empathy, and like dealing with like those kind of emotions and understanding the emotions. When AI replaces that, people may feel comfort in the short term, but in the long term, they become more isolated, more dependent, and less able to connect with real humans. More than proud to stand on side opposition. We believe that, Judge, even though the proposition argues that AI is growing stronger to change the actual social interactions, we believe that the creation of AI is being supplemented, not replacing it, which means we are using it as a secondary tool to use it as like a model that helps the people. So three main impacts here in this debate. If people use AI machines for social, they get used to conversations that are easier and controlled. However, by utilizing these AI, no thank you, we believe that it is more open and are accessible for people to improve their social interactions between their peers. So what is the impact here? People become worse at handling conflict and rejections. So second, we believe that vulnerable people or like elderlies can easily access AI 24/7, which can help them easier and faster than people around them. So government acts like AI social machines will destroy human relationships, but that is an exaggeration. Our side does not say AI replaces family, friends, or therapists. We say AI fills the gap when those people are absent. No, thank you. Before I move on to my two main clashes, some rebuttals, the DPM stated that other people can give personalized answers. However, even Judge, we've already told the proposition that AI is developing and are capable of answering even specific questions from people. Therefore, this does not stand in this debate. Also, the government whip stated that the moment we ask AI, they cannot give direct answers and people will rely on them. But Judge, we've already stated that AI having to utilize as a secondary tool is not risky, which is not really engaged in the proposition side. Moving on to my first clash, which side better protects vulnerable and people. This is the most important clash in this debate because the people most affected by AI social. Yes, I'll take your POI.
How are all of your benefits possible if AI does the thinking for you? Even though you use it as a secondary tool, AI thinking is involved, and the individual will eventually lose the ability to actually carry on the relationship.
So like we already mentioned in DLO's speech too, but like as using AI as a secondary tool, we believe that those kind of like experiences and abilities can improve social interactions between humans in the reality. So moving on to my first clash again. So these includes elderly people living alone, students who feel like isolated, people with disabilities, people with social anxiety. So government fake and therefore harmful, but this misses the point. A support tool does not need to be perfect to be useful. A diary does not like talk back. An AI companion may not be a real human, but it can still provide conversation and comfort, like with like helpful abilities to humans. So opposition wins because we help the people who need support most. The government only protects people in theory, but in reality, they abandon vulnerable people by taking away one of their few accessible sources. So moving on to my second clash, which side better improves social interactions of humans in the long term. Many people struggle socially not because they hate humans, but because they are afraid. They fear and embarrassment or saying the wrong thing. For these people, like jumping directly into real social situations can be overwhelming and like really embarrassing to them, because we provide a pathway from isolation to human connection, which is an AI tool that can be used as a secondary tool to help humans. So final weighing judge, government's case depends on fear. They say AI might be misused, might be harmful for humans, or might create dependency, but opposition gives a more realistic world. We do not claim AI is perfect. We claim it is useful when human support is absent. So for these reasons, more than proud to oppose.
Judge, this debate was never on the general concept if AI was a good thing or a bad thing. It was on whether AI can be a second source for relationships. But before I move on to address the core deadlock of this debate, I would like to mention some things that the proposition side never actually fully actively addressed on our side. Judge, the opposition never addressed our point on one. They never addresses our point that going over personal relationships is hard, and therefore their arguments and rebuttals built on the idea that like people can just go over the relationships does not stand. Second, they never address our claim that AI is always there and that AI available 24/7 while people cannot. And third, they never address our claim that people's relationships are not fully like perfect, and that when these go sideways, people can like rely on AI. And since all of these 3 points were not addressed, these still stand and still should be fully credited for our side. Not only this, the government side also tells you in their first speech that AI will still be there, but then they also contradict this by saying that AI is bad and that AI means that people don't think, and this contradiction should stand something against the government. But moving on to this core deadlock that I found out. And it's about whether AI is going to make the people not think and stop thinking, ask AI to do everything for them, or help the people have mental health and have comfort. We talk there is a higher accessibility. 2, that AI adapts and gives more personalized answers. And 3, that we have a safeguard when human relationships fail. Meanwhile, they only tell you that people stop thinking when they start asking AI. And we win this clash because we have more accessibility. As we told you before, we are available 24/7 while people are not, and that's why we win. But not only because of accessibility, we also have the most vulnerable people because we help the people who don't have any human relationships to rely on, because we help the AI. We help these people because AI is always going to be there. AI doesn't, and everybody can have AI, while not everybody can always have human relationships. And for these reasons, very proud to oppose from bench opposition.
Judge, I'd like to state that the opposition until the very end never responded to our team's stance that AI is going to make lonely people even lonelier because they're going to get more and more reliant on it as time goes by. Hello, I'm the government reply of today's debate, and I'd like to talk about how our team has already won today's debate in a step-by-step manner. So, firstly, the largest impact about this debate was about loneliness. The government side has responded by saying that elders should be partially abandoned by the family, and many people will become excessively reliant on it, even if it's totally unintentional. The opposition also responded to this by saying that it is better to have this like AI like robot than to not have it. This This impact is already won by our side because the deputy prime minister said that the family will stop meeting the elders as often, and it will also make it lonely people like too reliant on it because like it is the only source of like not becoming lonely. So it has been rebutted. The government side stance has not even been directly responded, so it still stands. So this one still stands. Moving on to the second largest impact of today's debate, which is about how it supports people. The government side, the people will become too reliant on it, and the opposition side has said that it will only be used as a supporting tool and it will never become the main use of like interactions. This has already been won because the government whip has said that they didn't explain how it would never become the main source of fixing loneliness. our team's stance was also rebutted, but it was also rebutted by the government whip in the same way that there's no supporting idea that it will only be supporting news. They just because they just only talked about it, they did not have any mechanization or reasoning. So this is also given to our team's side. So to summarize what I've said, I'd like to give out a simple world comparison. So the government, just like the status quo, lonely people will get partial support from their family, and the other people will just have regular friendships and relationships. However, the opposition team's world is where many elders are going to become even lonelier as their family don't meet them as often, and also a lot of lonely people becoming too reliant on it, making it harder to create new friendships and relationships. So for all of these reasons, I am proud to propose